Hi, this is Miguel Castro and welcome back to my channel. This is part 2 of a 4-part series on how to make your own scrapbook. And today, we are going to assemble the cover for the scrapbook. On the first part of this series, I explained all the materials and tools we're going to use. If you want to see part 1 of this series, there is a link down below. So let me start by cutting out the board that we're going to use for the cover. So as I mentioned before, I am using the back part of a big calendar. This is thick enough for a cover for our scrapbook. We are going to make a cover for an A4 sized book body. Just to make things faster, I just mark it on the board itself, somewhere on the top and one on the bottom, just to make sure that we can have a straight line. Just a reminder, if you are using a utility knife and a steel ruler, you will really have to make sure that the tip of the blade of the utility knife sinks in at the starting point of the board, so that we can make sure that the blade will not jump over the metal ruler, because I had many accidents before that I was so confident that the blade was in proper place. When it is not, it suddenly jumped over the metal blade, running over my finger, and we don't want that kind of accident. Here you go. By the way, we are going to make 3 pairs of scrapbook. 2 of them at A4 size, and the other one would be only half of the A4 size. So that's for 1 pair. Let's do the next one. That's a pair. Second pair, and then we will do the third pair, which is half the size of an A4. This time I'm using this leftover illustration board. So this is our third scrapbook. So the next step for the first pair, which is going to be the same for the other 2. One will be the back part of the scrapbook, and the other one is the top part. Now, the top part has to have a scoring so that we can open up the scrapbook. I am going to use this much, the width of the ruler. There you go. So this will be like, this is where the folding will be, the scoring. We cannot just let the scoring be as narrow as this. There has to be a little bit of space in between so that it can fold up freely and not destroy the paper over time. So we're going to cut this part of the cover further. So if you align it with the back part of the cover, you will have a canal, which is that much, where the folding or the scoring of the cover will be. So we're going to do this as well with the two other covers. Now, I am further cutting the shorter part of the cover for the scoring part or the canal part for our cover, because since this is a small scrapbook, this is too wide, eating up the remaining part of the scrapbook. So take the scoring part on the shorter, on the head of the cover. There you go. So we're ready with the board. We are going to prepare the cover. First one, we're going to use craft paper. So we will do the same on the other two scrapbooks using other materials. So this is for the craft paper. Now we are going to use a wrapper, gift wrapper. Again, an inch or an inch and a half on both sides. Place the board in the middle and then cut. So there you go. This is for our second scrapbook. Let's do the third one. And for the third one, we're going to use handmade paper. So let's straighten out first the side. That's it. But we are going to cut the corners later on because this is a different way of covering our scrapbook. We will deal with that later. We have a cover for that already. The next step will be like gluing them together. Before gluing the board, we have to secure the two-part cover first because it has to be secured and durable, because this is the part where it will always be like opening and closing, so it has to be sturdy. So what I did is that I got this paper. This is 2 times thicker than a copy paper. And then let's this is what the newspaper is for, to protect our working table. When applying the glue, it has to always from the middle going out. Do not apply the glue following the sides of the paper, because the tendency is the glue to go under and inside the paper. We don't want that. And then get the paper, lay it down, put the top part on it. As you can see, it did not, I only covered most of it, but not all of it for the head. And then using the back part as a guide, I aligned it with the back part. Let's do the head first. I aligned it with the back part, and then aligning the second half of the cover there, and then just get your piece of cloth, cotton, and then just glide on it. So you can see it's flattened out really well, and there is a support already for the scoring. Let's do this on the other two. And now let's try to glue the cover onto the board. Let's start with the craft paper. And you have to make sure that it's evenly applied, otherwise it will create air bubbles underneath if there is no glue. You can see if some parts doesn't have any glue anyway. Okay, and then because we have a marking, you can just put your paper on the marking, take it out of the newspaper, and then you can see that there are bubbles. What you can do is quickly take it off, not all the way through, leaving a portion on the side, and then slowly run your fingers on it so that the bubbles will go away and it will be flattened. With your both back fingers, glide it at the back of the board and then push the paper in so that the sides will be even. So back of the finger and then push in. So all of these you will have to do very, very fast. Now these corners, you will have to push your thumb in a little bit to fold it a little bit on the side and then fold it in. There you go. One way of flattening it is by using a smooth piece of cloth, pressing the paper down so that it will be flattened out. This is the importance of having enough glue inside and not dried glue to make sure that everything can be flattened out. So this part, it dried up a little bit, so we can just add up a little bit. And then flatten it out. Okay. Another way, which we are going to do with the cover, another way is using our presser. If you want to see how I made this, the link will be below this video. Now, if you notice, there is no marker, but only because I've gotten used to this. So the one with the scoring has to be placed on top of our cover. Again, press it a little bit on the side, then flip it over, run your fingers on it, and then when you get to the scoring, you will have to put your lightly, without pressing this part, put your finger lightly on the scoring so that the paper would go in, but not too hard so that you do not destroy the paper. And then press the rest and then flip it immediately so that the glue will not dry up, and then press the paper down, press the paper down, thumb fold up the corners, Press it down, thumb corner. On this one you have to adjust a little bit. Yep. Thumb corner, and then press down. Now, the other way of pressing this down is by using a presser. Place the board in between the planks. Place the clamps and then tighten it up. Tighten it as tight as you can. And it is like, it doesn't have to take very long. The main purpose of it is just to press it all together. Maybe, 30 seconds is fine. Take it off again. And you can see that it's very well pressed, very straight. Everything is pressed down. So this is the back part of our scrapbook, and this is the top part. Okay, so we are not going to cover this part yet because this is going to be a different design, so we'll show that later. So let's do the other scrapbook covers. So this time, since our wrapper is curled up, I will have to decurl it. Okay. So let's use the textile first and flattening it out. Yeah, so all flat, it's okay. So and now we are going to cover the third scrapbook with handmade paper. Now, the thing is, we cannot put the glue directly on the handmade paper because it's too fibrous that the glue will seep in all the way through, and sometimes it goes through the other side and creates an ugly blot which doesn't come off anymore. So instead of putting the glue on the handmade paper, we are going to put the glue on the board itself. And then again, run the textile on it. Now for the handmade paper, even though you can use a textile, because it's too fibrous, it is more advisable to use a presser on it, because the fibers are too hard and too thick that it might not stick to the board really well, so you have to use a presser on this. But before we use the presser, let's do the other one. Put glue all the way between the scoring. So for our two other scrapbooks, for our craft paper, I think I would do black for the inside cover. This orangey or salmon thing I think would go well. So our inside cover is exactly the same size as our cover because it's an A4 size as well. So what we wanted to do, cut a little bit on the four sides. I think it's going to be nice if you can see a little bit of the design of the cover on the side. We have a little bit of, you can see the wrapper design on the side. For our craft paper, we are going to paste it later because I have to design this first because we don't want our scrapbook to be plain looking. We have to design this first before we put our back cover. So now we're going to design our scrapbook with craft paper cover before we put the inside cover. For the design, we're going to use a glue gun and glue stick. We're going to paint it with black house paint, and then we are going to put texture on it. Let's go tribal. Okay, so the hot melt glue dries up really fast, so we can go straight to painting our scrapbook cover. We'll start with the back part first. So we will let it dry for a while. So now that we have painted both sides, we're going to add texture on it. Now, I wasn't able to mention this material on the first video, but I am using a metallic gold acrylic paint. Now, it doesn't have to be anything metallic. It doesn't have to be gold or silver. It can be another color, which is much lighter than black. This technique is dry brushing. And then dab your brush on it. Dab it on paper so that the paint would be evenly distributed on the brush, which is almost dried, hence dry brushing. There shouldn't be too much on it, otherwise it would blot on our design. So when it is like evenly spread on the brush, now slowly apply the brush on the design and not exerting too much pressure on it, just very lightly, going up and down, sideways. We want the designs, the embossed part to pop up color-wise. And I chose a metallic paint so that we can have an illusion of metal. And then once we are good, at the front, we will apply on the side at the back of the cover. As I was painting it earlier, maybe some of you would think, oh, he's such a sloppy painter because there is no single brush direction and he's just dabbing the paint all over it. It's only because the brush marks, as you are painting it, the brush marks adds up to the texture of the design, so you can still see the brush directions scattered all over the place. Now we are ready to paste the inside cover. So now we have our 3 scrapbooks ready. Our handmade paper cover, our gift wrapper cover, and our hand painted hot melt glue design cover. And next time we are going to put all our scrapbook pages in it, and I will show you how to bind them inside these covers. May it be like just plain pages or pages with clippings on it. So I will see you next time and have all your pages ready. Please don't forget to like, share, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel so I can do more videos like this. See you next time.